Hey guys, it's Tuesday night and it's time for another stream and time to continue with our drag and drop storage container. So let's see if we can get this working tonight. I'm sure we'll have it 99% by the time we begin, or by the time we end, that's what I mean. So, what we have now is I have created a widget, okay, and I'll show you it. It's this widget here. Now, we do have a problem with it and the fact that it's all white, right, which I'm not going to worry too much about at the moment, okay. Now, in the meantime, we are doing our storage drop into our storage container, right? So, this is the on drop, okay? So, if we drop an inventory slot, then what we do is place it in our container, the blueprint, okay, and then the bit that's not working is this clear grid, okay, and this is because it's clear storage inventory slots and not clear the storage slots. Okay, so I'm going to show you what's happening here. Okay, so we can go up, we can pick up something, we can pick up that, then we come over to our storage container, then we can drag this into here, right, and you'll see that that fires off our drop here. Okay, we're going to disable this. Hi Abdul Rashid Lengan. Hi student. So we've dropped it and it actually doesn't look as if it works. Okay, now it actually does, and I'll show you what I mean. If I come out of there, right, and then I go back in, you'll notice we have our thing. Okay, now the interesting thing is that it's not refreshing these things, okay? It's not removing our item from inventory, which we can do in a minute, right? But the main thing is that it's not refreshing our slots, okay? So, what we want to do is we want to refresh our storage slots, okay? So, this is the inventory slots, and this is the full storage. Okay, so in here we want to fill storage. Okay, so this isn't quite working. Actually, it probably isn't working, so we're going to check that in a minute. But we're going to get our parent, which is our storage unit, and we're going to say fill storage grid. Okay, and what we could do here is just drag that along a bit, drag that to the other side of there, drag that up, drag that out a bit, do that, break this, okay, and then join this up. Okay, and the next thing we're going to do is we're going to test that, and then we're going to check on our inventory slots. Okay, so we'll do the same thing again. We'll do that, then we'll grab some food, do that, go to our container, drag that to there, and you can see that our inventory is cleared out. Okay, but clear children isn't really what we want. Okay, but you can see now that our item in storage, we can walk away and then come back, and then this item will still be there. Okay, so that's good. Very good start. Now, what we actually need to do here is go back to here, go to our fill inventory. So we don't clear the grid, we fill inventory. Okay, so that's easy enough to do. We don't do that, which makes it really easy for us. All we need to do is fill inventory again. Okay, so as I've explained before, we're making the coffee, we're doing one little chunk of work at a time, and that's going to get us to the final result when we have everything working. Okay, save that. Now, this time we're going to get, we might not need that actually. Inventory, remove item from inventory. Right, so we can call that. Right, we know this is a Groenland. So what we can do is get player pawn, and we're going to have to cast it, which is fine. Okay, that's going to go to there. That's going to go to there. We're going to go 1. And then we're basically going to say this item number here. Okay. I'm going to stretch that out a bit, plonk that in there. Okay. We're going to plonk that in there. That's going to go to there. That's going to go to there. How to put an asset in your project? Just drag it in. Depends what it is. Depends what the asset is. You would have to let me know what asset you're talking about. So if you're talking something like, let's say, a PNG, right? Or an image, let's say. Okay. Let's say we were talking about images. You could basically, I'm just going to do an example here. Create a new folder, right? And we could say image test. Okay. Open that up. And then open up File Explorer. Right? And then we could do like game images, and then we could just drag this in, and there it is. Right, now if this was going to be a UI, I would open it up, right, and then just change this to user interface and then save it. Okay, that's simple as that. It's the same for models and everything. You just drag them in. The only difference is if you're adding it from a different project, and then the best idea is to migrate. Okay, so basically if I wanted to, let's say, migrate this, right, I could right click on it and say asset actions and say migrate, right? It might do a bit of saving first, and it will show you what it's going to do. It's going to create a folder called Game Widgets Image Test Trailer 6, right? So that's going to show you all the folders and stuff that it's going to do it with. You press OK, and then basically what you do is you select your project that you're going to do it, and then just basically what you do is you, for example, go to this one, and that's probably a bad example. If I go to this one, I can go, you just click on the content folder and then hit select folder, and that's it. Okay, and it'll migrate from this project to that project. Right, so if I was then to basically open that other project, this image would be in here, and it would be under image test widgets content, okay, or game. So that's different ways you can do it. There's probably import as well somewhere. Import into level. That's an FBX or T3D or whatever. I mean, you don't need to migrate. What you could do is, let's say you wanted to do a model, right? Then you would just export it as a, let's say I was looking at models here, right? Now, what you'd have to do is make sure that you export all the textures as well and materials that it's using, right? But if I was to do this, and then let's say common, bad choice, better just to do this, right? So if I was wanting to do this model, right, or static mesh, you just basically go to export, right, and you can export it as an FBX, okay? And then what you could do is you could go to the folder that you exported it to and then drag it in to your new project from there. So that's a few ways you can do it. Okay, hopefully that answered your question. I'll delete this back out. Delete that. Right, so we're going to delete, or we're going to close this down. Could have used that as an example as well there. Right, but anyway. So we're going to go back to our drag drop. And we did our thing there, didn't we? We did our remove from inventory. Right? And we're not going to do that. Right? And we can basically drag this over there. Save that. And now we should be able to test it. And that is from the inventory to the container, and all we've got to do now is do it from the container to inventory. Right, which is going to be fairly similar, pretty similar. Okay, and so we're going to do that, and we'll drop it in there. You'll notice that the interesting one there is that we've got two. Okay. Now, if I come out of here, I'm just wondering if we still have two in our inventory. Ah, we've only got one. And it's screwed up our remove from inventory. Okay, so there's a bug somewhere. In our remove item from inventory. But we can certainly fix it. But I think what we'll do is we'll go the other way around first, right? So what we're going to do is in here, right, we're going to get a storage item, and it's going to be wood, which means it's fuel. Right, now I don't know which. Yeah, log 1, that sounds good. 1. Interactable rows 1. Okay. So we're going to go with that. Okay. And now what we're going to do is very similar. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy all this, right? There's a lot of this is going to be the same. You know, we're going to be tweaking things, like we won't be removing an item from the inventory, we'll be adding an item to the inventory. But we will be removing it from the container. Okay? But this is going to be in our inventory slots, right? So we're going to pull this out. Okay, we're going to paste that, right? Now the interesting thing is our W storage item. Right. Now, I wonder and we don't. Oh, we don't. Okay, so this is the storage slot, right? So on mouse button we do that, on drag detected, right? We do that, and what have we got? Container index. Okay, that's fine then. You know what? We didn't really, well, it doesn't really matter, to be honest. We can still use the same thing. We don't need anything else. All we need is the slot number, right? So we just need container, get container index, right? And that's going to tell us which one it is. Then we can get parent, right? Then we can get the container, okay? We can get the storage slot, the storage. We can get the storage items. Then we just say, give me a copy of this. And that's going to tell me exactly what's in that storage slot. Okay? And then this we can basically go like that. We can delete that. Right? We can delete all that. You going to delete for me? Hopefully. Well, we only need two more subscribers, guys. 2 more subscribers to hit 800. That would be fantastic. Okay, so we're going to do that. Now, this is where things change slightly. Right. So we're going to add item to inventory, okay? But we need our pawn for this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break this up. We're going to break that up. We're going to break that because we're not going to use it anymore. Okay. And we're going to add, okay, and then, okay. Inventory. Is item in inventory? Okay. We're going to save that for now because we know where to find this. We can find it in most interactables. Okay. So we can check in interactables. And we can go into fuel. Because we know that you can pick up fuel. Okay. And then we just basically look for pickup. And it is in BP interactable item. Okay. And it's okay. So we can't really do this. Okay. What we're going to need to do is we're going to have to copy this into our functions. Okay. So what do we have here in our functions? You'll notice we don't have an add item to inventory. Okay, so let's add one then. Add to inventory. Okay. So we're going to go to here. So we're going to need this item exists. Except, or probably not. So we need the item, inventory item structure, and obviously our character. Right? So we're going to do that. Okay, we'll call it jar as before, and that's going to be the pawn. And that's going to be inventory item. Okay. That's going to be item. Okay. Then we're going to paste that. And that's the wrong thing, so we're going to unpaste that. We're going to compile that for now. We're going to go into our interactable. Right. We're going to copy this. Then we're going to go back in here and we're going to paste it. We're going to remove that because we don't use it. Right? This is going to go in here. This is going to go here. Okay. Oh, dear me. Right, so this is delete that. And that's going to be get item. It's going to go to there. Right, and we use it here. So we're going to delete that. We're going to duplicate that. Okay. Then we're going to delete that and delete that. Right. And then we're going to say char. We're going to get the char. That's going to go in there. Then we're going to duplicate it. And it's going to go in there. Compile that. Ooh. Oh, we're using it over here as well. Okay. Well, we can just type in char. So we get the char. Grab that. That's done. Yeah, toad medicine, only 2 more required. We'll maybe get there tonight. Maybe it'll be tomorrow, who knows. Just need to wait and see. Right. So now we've got this new function in our library that's just called add to inventory, and it's just an item. So we can now go back to here, and we don't actually need this. Yeah, we do. Yes, indeed we do. But that's okay. We just say add, oops, need to right click first, add to inventory. Okay. There we go. There we go. And there we go. Okay, so we're going to be doing our fill storage grid again. We're going to be doing this again. Right, but what we have to do now is update our container. Okay, so we need to get our storage items again. Okay. And we need to set an array element. Set array element. And it's going to be this index here. And we're basically going to set it to empty. Okay, so that's going to clear our item. I don't know why it wanted me to review that toad medicine, that comment. Maybe because it had an exclamation mark. And that's a bit too racy for YouTube. So we're going to do that. Right. And this is the parent, so that is going to go to there. Now you might be wondering to yourselves, right, how do I remember all this, like how do I plug this in? Well, I don't know. I just seem to have a reasonable good memory for logic, and when I get in a groove, I'm quite alright at this. So we've removed it from our actual container, and now we're going to do that. So let's see if I've completely mucked this up. And it's definitely possible. And I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to check to see if we've got... Hi, Lackamark. Nice to see you again, bud. Right, for some reason my Google Chrome is not changing. Wait a second. Alright, let's just refresh that. Have we got to 99? Have we got to 99, guys? Have you guys done it for me? Oh no, we're still on 98. Ooh, 98. Right, let's test this then. Right, so we should have an item in here. Right, there's our log, right? And if we don't you be doing that. Have I changed this? Methinks I have changed that. Right, which one is it? Is it on mouse button? Yep. I'm still trying to figure out what I think it is, right? If you guys remember, if you hit the left mouse button, right? What I think is happening is the action interact is eating up the input, right? Because it's an action button. Right, now I have come across this before, okay? And I'm going to have to find out how you switch off or change the priority. I thought there was a thing in the widget where you basically say input priority, right? And I thought, oh, that's going to override priority to the action, right? But it appears that the action is gobbling up all the input from the mouse left hand button. Okay, so I'm going to have to switch this to right again for now. Right, but we'll try and get a solution to it. I'm sure there is. I mean, I know there is. I know a way around it. Okay. You know, I could program it that if you interact and we're in storage mode, then we fire this, right? But bells and whistles. In the meantime, we'll just get it to work. The actual operational logic of our storage container. Okay, so ta-da! Ta-da! Okay. Now, you'll see that that's not smoke and mirrors, if we actually walk away and then walk back up to our storage container, there's nothing there. And our inventory has been changed, but this should actually say 1. Okay. So, when we set up our inventory item, we should be setting up the fact that the quantity is correct, right? But having said that, when we get in here, yeah, that's going to be 0 plus 0, right? Right, so we know we've got to fix that, but it's a minor issue at the moment. It is a minor issue which we can sort out once we've got everything else working. Now, what we want to do here is either A, make another button, or B, make a button in a way that if we don't have an image, we make it opaque. Okay, so what I'm saying by that is if we go to storage, right, and we go to storage item, okay, you'll notice this actually does have an item round about it, right? What I'm going to do is let's check this out. Now, we've got our image there, right? But we probably don't want to do anything with it right now. But what we do want to know is button item, right? Now, button item, if we go to this, we can set the tint, okay, and make it basically alpha 0, okay? So, let's go to our graph again. Make button style. Right. So it isn't a style. Now, it looks like we don't have a tint. Okay. So, this is actually the style. Okay. So you'll notice that we've got a style. And here is the tint. Okay. So basically what we can do is before we set this, okay, we can set this to 0. Okay. Or, tell you what, well, we're going to do this either way, right? Right, hang on a second. Let's tidy this up for just a second here. Right, and we'll drag this out a bit to give us a bit of space. Right, and we'll drag this over a bit. Okay. So, what we're going to do is we're going to check and see is valid. Okay. We do want it to draw this widget, right? But what we don't want yeah, we've just about done it. It's working. It's just the little tidy up parts, like just the way it looks and stuff now, really. But it's all working. It took us, what, 40 minutes today and an hour or so earlier. Right, so basically what we're going to do here is we're going to create a variable. Right, and we're going to say alpha, and it's going to be a float. Right, and we're going to default it to 1, let's say. Okay. And fundamentally, we're going to drag this back up to the wrong place completely. We're going to drag this somewhere we can see it. Okay. Drag that as well. Doesn't matter about the way we do this here. We can use all the space we want as long as we get this right. Okay, I mean I could make one slate brush for this, right? But what we're going to do is we're going to make a linear color, and the alpha is going to be that. Right, and otherwise it's just going to be 1, 1, 1. Okay. And then that is basically going to go into all of these. All right. Probably going to be a lot, what do you call it, tidier if I create the style. Yeah, I might do that while offline, because it's not going to be very interesting for you guys to watch me do that. Right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to say set alpha Okay, we're going to do it that way then. So if it's valid, right, we set the alpha to 1. Okay. If it's invalid, we set it to 0. Now we can do this a couple of ways, but there's a couple of ways of whether we tell it's valid or not. So if the picture doesn't give us a valid yes or no, then we'll do it another way. That can go there. We'll tidy that up in a second. We'll just create a reroute node, plug that in there. Right, now this should change the way this all looks. Unless of course you guys want to see me make a variable for that, for a style. Right, if you want me to do that, I'll do that. Not a big deal. It will tidy this all up, right? So save that. And now, so we're going to have to do the same, or are we? No, we're not. We don't need to do the same with the slots, the inventory slots. Right. Now, let's have a look and see if this is looking. There we go. Right, we've now got our backgrounds. Okay, pretty cool, huh? Ignore that big white blob. Right, but this is working cool. Now, what we don't want to allow is that, right? We only want to allow it for these items. And this is what I mean, the system's working on. It's just like these little tidy up jobs that we need to do, right? But fundamentally, we have a storage container working, right? In the game. So, we're going to have to stop that. And we're going to do it after our 5-minute cigarette break. So we only need, guys, 2 more subs to hit 800. So if you guys could hit that, that would be great. It's you guys that have managed to get 800 subs. It's not me, right? So if you manage to do that, that would be great. I shall be back in 5 minutes. So check out the descriptions for links to Discord, for the game, for my personal Discord, Patreon, and my previous game on Steam. I'll be back in 5 minutes. Don't go anywhere, guys. Alright guys, we are back and boys making coffee. So this works good, but we need to now block it if we pick up nothing. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to get self, right, which is our storage item. Okay, and this hasn't got the item, right? So let's go here and actually we should really do it we should test it here, right? So we should say self, right, and we should find out if this container has anything in it. Okay, so we need to really find out if there's anything in this container before we do anything. Okay, so the way we're going to do that, we can do it two ways. We can get container index, right, and actually see when we create this, right, surely, yeah, we've got button item, right? So we can find out what the image is on this button item. Okay, so we can do we can do it two ways, right? We could do it with the container index, right, and find out if there's anything in the container in that slot, right? Or we can check this button to find out if we can get the style, right, and break the button style, then we can break it for the normal, right, and then we can do is valid, right? So if it's got I mean, right, okay, what we should really do, right, is we should set a variable. Okay, we should say is empty. Okay, you force me into it, guys. Force me into doing something that's a bit simpler, right? So basically we're going to say get is empty, and we're basically going to say branch. Okay. And then we'll wobble that about. We're going to say is empty and not. Right? So when we create these, we're going to set that variable, right? So I'm going to go to storage item and instance editable and expose on spawn. Okay. And in fact, we should be actually, well, let's have a look. Okay. So it's when we fill the storage grid. And we add the child to grid. So it is actually here. Okay, so it's when we create the storage item. Okay, go to the event graph. This is it here. This is us getting it here. Okay, so very simply now, we do this here, and we set this. Right, we're going to drag that down. Okay, we'll move this along a bit. That's true. And that's false. Okay. So this should not create a drag. See, I can't drag that now, but I can drag that, right? But I can't drag that. So that's exactly what we want. Hi, Stormrun. So we can drag our stuff into the inventory, and then we can drag it back into our storage container. Now that should have removed it, which it didn't. Now let's just have a little look here. That didn't refresh. Well, it didn't refresh properly, put it that way. Right, but it is working. So what we need to do now is basically a bit more testing. Right, we need to grab some more stuff and then basically go to our storage, right? You notice how that actually, now I'm going to guess right, that if we go back, yeah, it's just not refreshing inventory quite right at the moment. But you'll notice here that we've got all the stuff, right? And if we do that, right, now we know it's not adding them quite right, the quantities, so we need to do something about that. But that's okay. Now, I'm just wondering, we should have 2 of these now, and we should have 1 of these. Sorry, 2 of them, 2 of them. Right, so if we come out of here, walk away a bit, just to prove the point. Right, it's not quite right. Now, so we need to do a little bit with our add item to inventory. Okay, but operationally it's working. It's just not getting the numbers right, but yeah, you know, we can sort that. Now, the other issue here is this W inventory slot, right, is basically on the hovered and unhovered. We want to switch off the tooltip. Okay. So if you're doing the drag drop, we don't allow tooltips. Basically, we may switch it back on, but for the moment, as I said, this is just a matter of tidying up all of these little quirks that might be mucking us up. So we're going to branch. And we're actually going to say not to keep it nice and tidy. Right. So we're doing that, and we're doing that. Okay, so now this will work in our inventory, but it won't, sorry, yeah, it'll work in our inventory, but it won't allow it to work in our storage container, which is exactly what we want. Right? For the moment, unless I am instructed different. But as I said, when you show the tooltip, the problem is that the tooltip kind of covers up the drag and confuses you. So it's, as I said, it's not ideal, right? So we can test it by quickly picking up this, going to here, clicking that, and you'll notice now that there's no tooltip. Okay, which is awesome. Okay, so we should have 2 number 1s, and as I said, our inventory is not getting quite updated properly, and there we go. Right, if we do that and then click on storage, you'll notice that our number 1 is log, our number 2 is nothing. and that's because it's number 0. There's our first one. And it's not got the name in it, but we're not going to worry too much about that. And that's probably because we dropped that in, and basically that was the one we did at the start and we never put a name in it, right? Because if I stop that, right, and then I click on this again, you'll notice it hasn't got a name. But if I went log, that would now work. Okay. So we need to take a look at when we add an item to the inventory in our function library, because that's not happening. Okay. So let's do that, shall we? Now we're going to close that down for now because we don't need it. Right, I hate this. I hate this, guys. I'm going to have to do a style. Don't like it, but I think it's more important we do the other thing. This thing here. Right? And this should just be +1. Okay. And this, well, what we should really do is when we punt this in, right, when we pump this in, we should just tell it 1. Okay, so when we drag our inventory item, and I just close it down like a right idiot. Right, so the problem was, right, okay, so what we'll do is get myself confused again, but that's okay. Right, so it's this inventory slot. Right, so when we drag, on drag detected, right, the question is, well, actually, that's okay. Right, it's when we drop it on this storage item. okay, that we don't pass the actual amount. Okay, so it's the on drop that's the problem. We're not doing a quantity. But having said that, it should be. We should have the quantity in the item. Right? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a breakpoint there. Right? Because I want to know what this says about the quantity. Right? So we're going to pick up food, right? Run over here, R, okay? And then we're going to drop this into here. Okay? Now, we've got a quantity of 2. Okay? And that's getting set in the container. Okay? So now the interesting, yeah, okay. So this is in the wrong place. Okay. We should be doing this before we refresh anything. Okay. So this is actually going to go at the back of this, the back end of this. Okay. And that's why it wasn't refreshing quite right. You can also see here that we're only removing 1. Okay. So what we should be doing is grabbing the quantity from here. Okay, and then we need to tidy this up. And we'll gradually tidy it up. Right, so that can go there. That can go to there. Right. So we're going to save that. And we need one more subscriber who's going to take us over to 800. Who's going to be that superstar? Right, and we can basically, well, we can basically fix that right up. Right, we can put that right there. Okay. Now, I was going to do something smart with this. Okay, I'll explain it in a minute. It kind of doesn't make sense, which is why I'm kind of reticent to do it, right? But I'll explain it to you, and then you guys can tell me what you think, right? Here's what I was going to do. And I'll tell you why I think it's a bit weird if I do it. Right, you know how I've got 2 here, right? Well, what I was going to do was each item basically splits, right? So that's going to take up 2 spaces. Okay? It kind of doesn't make sense because I don't do it in the inventory, right? Now, if I was being pedantic about it, then I would kind of end up arguing with myself about it, whether it makes sense. And then I would kind of argue myself into the fact that if I'm going to do it one place, then I have to do it all places, right? So that it's consistent, right? But for what it's worth, that's what I was going to do. Now, we can do that. And now we should, in theory, and if we add this again back here, we go back to 2. Okay? Now, if I don't split them, then I have to show the number here as well. Okay? If I do split them, then I don't need to show the number here because you'll see the numbers. Now, the whole point of this is that there's a certain number of slots, right? So, gameplay-wise, it does kind of make sense to split them up, right? If you put 5 in here, and plus it gives the player a way to, like, split up items, right? Because if it automatically splits them here, then you could just add 1 or 2 back in, right? So say you had 5 arrows and you only wanted to take 3, right? You could just drag this in, right? This would automatically split into like 5 arrows, right? And then you could basically drag them back in one by one, okay? But that was kind of my thoughts on the matter. I'm not too sure how I want to do it. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments what you guys think of that idea. Good idea, bad idea? What do you think? Either way, it doesn't matter to me. I can do it. Right, the logic for that isn't going to be that difficult. The only thing is I'm going to have to make sure that the slot that I'm trying to put it in is already empty. Right, because obviously I can drag this to anywhere. Right, so you can basically, you know, tidy it up yourself. And once I hit 800 subscribers, I won't keep checking anymore. Right, we're still on 799. Somebody, for the love of God, hit the subscribe button. Right, so this is working good though. Right, we've fixed that little issue. I don't know how we ended up over there, but anyway. So basically, in the last 2 days, we have created a crafting station, right, where we can craft stuff, and we've created a storage unit where we can store stuff. Not bad. Right, so you can see here, now I did speak to my colleague on this one, and he's not particularly fond of the showing these icons. He says that he would maybe prefer just like text. Right, don't know what you guys think, but anyway, there's always that. So we can craft stuff, right? As you can see, we've crafted stuff. We've lost what we crafted. And then we should really check if we can drag it in there. And there we go. How's about that? So as you can see, we're crafting something out of something, then we're storing it in a storage container. And we can now basically walk away. Right? And there it is, it's still there for us. Right? So now what we need to do, actually a couple of little settings here that we need to do, and this is how easy it is to save stuff in EMS, right? I'm going to probably later or off stream, I'll tidy a lot of this stuff up, right? So yeah, there's that. Like for example, this can go above that, which can then go to there, and that tidies that up a bit, right? So this can go down here a bit, and then this can basically go to here, and that's basically tidies that up a bit. Then we can grab this, we can drag this one back a bit, then we can straighten this one, and we can probably drag this back just a little shade, and we just basically put it off again. Right, so you can see there, that's a good nice, good bit tidier. Put that up there. This is all good. We can put that to there. As I said, I get a bit pedantic about this, but once you start doing these, then it's hard not to tidy these things up and try and get them as nice as you can. Right, there is a, once I get some money in, I'm probably going to get the, if you guys have ever seen it, there's a node, an electricity node I think it's called, or something like that. Right, let's have a look. Right, I don't know if you guys have seen that. And it looks like it's going to be next Tuesday that's our free assets, because it's basically the first Tuesday of the month, right? But if we go to the marketplace, right, here's something if you didn't know about it, for the likes of Storm, who's just starting out, and if he doesn't like the way that the nodes look, there's, I think it's electrical. Nodes. It's got a funny name, right? And the search on this is crap. Electronic nodes, right? I keep meaning to get this, but it's pretty cool, right? Because what it does is it does stuff. It makes everything. That's the original, right? And then you've got 90-degree angles, 45-degree angles, and all sorts of stuff. So if the guy who made this wants to sponsor me and he's watching tonight, then send me a code, because I want to give this a go. Right? But yeah, pretty cool. Like that. So, anyway, what we're going to do, I can't remember. What were we going to do, guys? Oh yeah, we were tidying up and stuff, weren't we? That can go there. I don't know, answer me out there, guys. Do you tidy up your things like that, or do you just no care about how it looks? I know people on both sides of the fence on this one, you know, that they don't give a crap how they look, which is fair enough. Alright, I'm not gonna. So we want a slate brush, right? Slate brush. Okay. Compile that. Right. And what we'll do is we'll get it. We're going to have to break it, obviously. In fact, no, we're not. What we're going to do is set members. Right, and the only two we're going to actually do here is the image size and the tint and the image. And actually, we're not doing it in this one. It's yeah, we're not doing it here. So we'll forget our tint. Right? So the image size is going to go there. And our image is going to come for there. Right? then we can basically delete these. See how it's tidier already? Right? Then we can pull in our slate brush. And we can just go blam, blam, blam. Right? We can drag that to there. And then we basically say set, drag our struct in there, and Bob's your auntie. We can do that. Then this can basically, well, what we'll do is we'll align this to the right. Okay. Then we'll pop it there. Then we'll get this stuff into position. And that can go, let's say there. Okay, that can go there. And then we can just basically move this to wherever we need to, which can be there. Look at that. Now remember what that used to look like, guys. Right? Just remember what that used to look like, and these aren't aligned right. Okay, look how tidy this is now. Right, look at that. Remember that spaghetti used to be here? Well, there we go. And I think we'll leave it there for tonight, actually. I hope you've enjoyed the stream. We've got drag and drop working for the most part. A little bit of tweaks. But the reason I don't want to take it any further, guys, is kind of the same with the crafting. Is I want to get Kent's thoughts on it before I do any tweaking of it, to see what he thinks, right? And if he's got any design issues or design suggestions, then, as I said, I would rather not tweak it just now. I'd rather wait to get his input on it, and this is what you got to do, right? If you're working with somebody else, because especially for this, for me, because I'm not a designer, right? I'm not the graphics guy in this game. So basically anything like this, I'm going to run it past them and say, well, what do you think? Can you, you know, do you think you can, is there a better way of doing it, do you think, right? So as I said, you've got to be open to that, right? So if you've enjoyed it, hit like and subscribe. I'll be back tomorrow, 2 PM Central, as usual. We'll be doing something else, don't know what it is, but we'll think of something, right? Check out the description for links to the game's Discord, where you can ask about the game, and myself and Kent are on there. We basically will answer anything that you ask that's reasonable. There's my personal server where I help out with people with Unreal Engine. What else? Oh yeah, Patreon, which I have amended I've taken a lot of the tiers out, and it's only basically now, because we're working on this game and it's going to be a Kickstarter, I've had to take out the stuff where I give you access to early game development, because that was really for other things and other games that I was working on myself, which I did previously. But check that out anyway. You don't need to, you can sign up just to get the links to the latest videos that I've done, which is these devlogs, right? And also my previous game on Steam, which is available for $1. So if you want to support the channel, you can go and buy that for $1 and you get a game. So yeah, so I shall see you tomorrow. Thank you guys for watching, and bye bye for now.